Hey guys, in this lesson we're going to talk about putting borders around a table. Now borders are nothing more than lines. You can have dotted lines, thick lines, thin lines, and have different colors. But what they'll do is they'll kind of enhance the table, they'll make it look nicer, make the presentation better so that it just comes across easier for people to look at. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We should be on the Formatting Border tab of our workbook. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the grid lines. Now every worksheet we've used up until now has had grid lines on it that kind of define the structure of the worksheet and where the cells edges are. We don't show those right now. So let's look at how to turn the grid lines on and off. From our page layout ribbon, we're going to go about halfway across the page and we see some sheet options. We've got grid lines and headings. So right now we're not showing grid lines. I can show them just by clicking in that view box and toggling them on and off. Now by default, grid lines are usually on a worksheet. Here's the other option you have for grid lines is to print them or not. Now most of the time by default we're not going to print a sheet with grid lines, but there may be times when you're in a conference room with some people and you want to write on the paper where grid lines could be useful. The other options here are just for the headings, and those are for the column and row headings. And these typically always just stay on, but I just show you in case somehow you get to a sheet they're not there. Here's how you get them back. Just click on the headings. So let's go turn our grid lines off again, and let's look at our sheet tab now. You can see two tables. One is kind of finished, and that's what we're going to kind of work towards in this lesson. And the one down below that starts under quick border, that is no formatting. And you can see right away, without grid lines or any table formats, it just doesn't look that good. And you can't even tell where the total is because it's the same as other rows. So we're going to look at a couple different ways to build this table and try to get it to look like the one that I built in the top of the worksheet. All right, so for starters, let's scroll down a little bit so we have more room to work. Oh. But I do want to freeze panes so that we will always see our table that we're shooting for. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is the quick border. And that's where you just highlight your table, and we'll go back to the home ribbon. And in the font group, you have a border tool. Let's click on that drop down, and here's all the quick options. These first four are just on left, right, top, or bottom of the range you're working with. Then you have no border. That's how to take all the borders off. All borders, outside, thick, whatever. So let's go here quick, and let's do all borders and see what that looks like. So it looks pretty good. It looks like a typical spreadsheet. I just put the same border everywhere. Let's start to make it a little differentiated. Let's highlight the whole thing again and go back up here and try a thick outside border. That's a little bit better, but I still can't really differentiate all the internal cells. What's the column heading, what are the items, and what's the total? So I'll go here and I'm going to start fresh again. I'll click the drop down and go to no border. And now I've removed the border for everything. Okay? Well, we might want to keep some things separate and some together. So right now, my 3 products I've sold, I'm going to put a border around those. So I get a thick outside border. Now they're a little bit separated. And now I might want light lines between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So let's highlight those. And I'll go down here too. And now I'll put on all borders. So that's pretty good because it put lines between the days of the week as well. But look what else it did. When I did that all borders, it overrode the border we put on before when we did the outline. So now to make this work again, I have to go back here and I have to do my outline. And then I might want to do one for the whole table. That looks pretty good. Not quite as detailed here, but we're not going to do that with the quick borders. As you can see, as I tried to demonstrate, you have to do things in a certain order when you use the quick borders because whatever else you apply will overwrite the borders you've put in there. Okay, but that is a quick way to just get some lines around your table, make it look good. Let me just resize these columns too to make them look a little nicer. Okay, well now let's go down to draw border. This is going to be a little better and we'll have more control here. So still, we'll start with the border tool. And down here on the draw borders, we have some options. We can just click draw border. We can draw border grid. We can erase a border. And we choose our line color and our line style. Okay? Well, our line color right now is black. And our line style is just a single line. Okay, let's make our line color. Let's keep that black. And let's have a line style of this dotted line. And now I'm just going to draw a border here. And then I'll come over here and draw that again. And now we want that red line all the way across on the bottom of pairs. So I'll have to go here and I'll have to change my line color to red. And I'll have to change my line style to thicker. I'll go all the way to the bottom. And now on the bottom of pairs, I'll just draw that line all the way across, and I get that. And now I want to draw my thick border around the entire table. So I'll click on the black color, and then I will click on the line style, the thick line, and then I'll draw a border around the edge. And sometimes when you move your cursor, it will go from drawing a line to drawing a box around things. All right. Now I'm still in draw mode because I've got that pencil out there. So if you're done, what you do is hit your escape key to get out of that draw mode. And that's pretty close. I got most of everything I wanted there, but it was a little bit of a pain going back and forth. So the last thing I want to show you is how to use the border dialog to make borders. Okay, so I'll highlight this whole table again. And I'm going to get to it from here and go down to my More Borders command. That brings up the border dialog. So we could do a couple things here, like in between the cells, I want a thin line. So I can click on a thin line here, and maybe I'll make that a different color. Maybe I'll make that blue, and I'll just put that in the middle, because this is kind of representing your table structure. You've got the outer boundaries of the table, and then what you're going to put in between every line in the middle. And then what do I want? The outside border. I'll have that be dark black. And click the outline, and it did that. So the other thing we want to do is add that red line at the bottom. You can't really do a single line in this border dialog. It's either going to be the edges or every column in between cells or every row in between cells. So if I did a red line here and tried to put that there, watch what happened. Oop, even got the diagonal there. And click OK. So now that border dialog put a red line between every row, because that's kind of what it's set up to do. What it did over here was good. It put the blue line between the days, but we don't like that red line between every row. And I could go back to my border dialog, and I'll take that red line out all together and click OK. So now you're getting to really what the whole point of this is. There's 3 different methods to build borders. Sometimes it's faster to use multiple techniques to draw your borders. So we got our basic table grid set up, and we got the outline and the column separation. But for the total line, we just want an upper thick red line. So what we can do there is we can come down here and go to line color and make it red. And then make sure I've got a thick line there too. Yep. So now I can just draw that red line in with my drawing tool. And remember to hit escape. So that's it. That's how you put borders around tables in Excel.